Hello, everyone. It is Friday, the 26th of January, 2024, and I did do a video this morning. However, I realized I was going to do a separate video and cover the Edmonton Capitol Hill shooting that took place within the last 48 hours, I believe. And I've been back and forth for between provinces now for the last week and a half because of family members being hospitalized and stuff like that. And so I'm trying to get videos out because I'm likely going back again to visit and things like that. But anyway, and so I will show you from X, formerly known as Twitter, what people are saying. So I just, let's see. So all I did was just do Edmonton City Hall. Again, there's no bias in my search engine or anything like that. And then I see top is Tom Quiggin. If a terrorist attack occurs in City Hall and the Prime Minister does not hear it, is it still a terrorist attack? As relevant, Global News is literally on the side of the terrorists. How do you leave out the shooter recorded a video citing Gaza as a reason to attack Edmonton City Hall and ended with a Muslim greeting? Never trust Global News. So this was Ezra Levant, okay, from Rebel News. And so, surprise, surprise, because it's me. And even though I literally just started my research on this, I already have the footage and the video that he recorded before doing this. And so I'm going to share that, but I'm just going to show you the bias, that not a lot of people are reporting it. A lot of people are calling this a terrorist attack, a jihadist attack. People are saying that this is an attack because of what's going on in Israel and Palestine, and saying that this is anyway. So you'll see here, Islamic terrorist attack, he's saying. This is an all-out Gaza-inspired jihadist terrorist attack. So again, I'm just sharing what people are saying. So this is on Twitter, or X, formerly known as X. My apologies for that. Actually, Elon Musk, I would like to have an interview with him and discuss a bunch of things to see if he's actually aware of the reality of the world. Because like I've said before, even people that I know that are brilliant, they still believe that the Earth is a globe and that space is real, as we are being led to believe. And so I would not put that. I would not be surprised if Elon Musk didn't actually know the truth about the reality of the world. It would actually not surprise me at all. Okay, so I just wanted to do a search engine. So Edmonton City Hall shooting. So I'll do all. Just show you what people are saying and how they're interpreting it. Mainstream and independent journalists. So let's see what main search engines will give you. So this is security guard accused in Edmonton City Hall shooting. Edmonton City Hall shooting suspect was a security guard. Okay, so these are from Global News and CBC. So again, these are mainstream media outlets, left and right, part of the same bird. But even when the political parties, the conservatives and the liberals were implemented in the early 1800s, again, there's different political parties during different cycles of life. But when they were initiated or enacted, these political parties, so were these media outlets, CBC and Global News, left and right. And so they basically say the same thing now, right? So this is what I'm saying, that they're all owned by Bell and other media outlets that control so much other infrastructure here in Canada. Police charge man after attacking Edmonton City Hall. City Hall shooter charged. Edmonton City Hall shooting. 28-year-old man faces charges. A man who just charged a firearm in Edmonton City Hall yesterday is facing charges. So this is from Edmonton Police Services. So this is something that I'd be more apt to click on, right? And not mainstream media, right? Not Chief Peter Slowly from Ottawa, right? That came from Toronto, but literally on the record admitted that he got his news from the media. So when people are talking to me about intelligence, you're getting it from the media. That's not where you get it, right? Unless it's people like me that actually have the experience to back up what we're saying. We're only part of this independent journalistic friggin' team, only because these people are misinforming us. But anyway, City Hall shooter charged. MRU 24 Romeo 005 for immediate release. This was 2 days ago now, but in the afternoon, so a day and a half ago, let's say. So 24 Jan 2024 at 3:03 p.m. So 3:03, you've got the 33 in there, not lost on me. 24, you've got that in there. So you've got the redundancy of the 2442, which is the if you talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy, is the answer to the universe. Anyway, and then Jesus is, there's a 2442 in that. Dawn as well, which is my name, but it's also possibly like Eos, Hemera, Venus, Lucifer, Aphrodite, keeper of time as well, the luminaries. So the male identified as Bazani Sarvar, 28, is charged with 6 charges: reckless discharge of firearm into place, use, place, throw explosive substance, arson to property, possess incendiary material, use of firearm while committing offense, and careless use of firearm. So bail hearing was yesterday. So surprisingly, like literally within like the day after, and then he did that in the afternoon. Anyway, the EPS is aware of a video circulating that may be related to this incident. Investigators are reviewing this video. Our officers are working closely with our national security partners. Well, if it's CSIS, then I'm sorry. But anyway, Chief Dale McPhee, I would like to reassure the public that we believe there is no further threat to public safety at this time. The investigation is in its early stages, and we will continue to update Edmontonians as it progresses. EPS is working with RCMP, Integrated National Security Enforcement Teams, INSET, partners on the continued investigation. No further information is available at this time. So this is right from Edmonton Police Services. I do know people that actually work in the Edmonton Police Services. They're friggin' awesome guys. So shout out to you. You do good work. And Calgary Police Services too, within 2 hours of each other. And just friggin' solid guys. And actually even people that do like emergency management or like city security stuff. Like I've worked with these guys. I've deployed with some of these guys, or they're former Patricias. And so I know them, through work, like even indirectly. And so it's all good. So you're getting what a lot of mainstream media outlets are saying. So let's just go and see if we can find the video. And this guy is good too. I've been following him for a little while. Oh no, that's me. Well, I'm good too. I've been following myself for a little while too, 41 years. So I highly recommend you do that. Okay, yeah. What I was gonna do was I had the video up, but then I went back so that you can see what Rumble is showing as well. So, and okay, so what everyone is missing about Edmonton City Hall terror attack and Jihad in Canada. So this is Press for Truth. This guy is what I was talking about. I'm going to share. Actually, before I even share him, I'm going to show Rebel News because it's as relevant. And again, sometimes I agree with them, sometimes I very much do not. And that's why I've tried to reach out to multiple people within their independent journalist team. And there's been back and forth with one person. I won't say his name because I don't want to single him out. But I've still offered myself to be like to discuss this stuff, to go on Rebel News, to be like an expert advisor, whatever you want to call it, because I've also been part of Global News. I've been on mainstream media, but as soon as I tell the truth, they don't invite you back, right? When you tell the truth, they don't invite you back. So when you're trying to paint people, even as early as like 2020, as right-wing supremacists, I'm going to correct you on that. And anyway, let's see what Rebel News has to say. So Edmonton shooter.
Salam vatandaşlarım. Mefam ki yapıp kolagi mefama hamo bozan boyacak aslında. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Before I do my mission, I want you all to know that I am not a psychopath. I do not believe in bloodshed. I am not one of these monsters that hurt children, that hurt innocents, and that promote wars or the civilization of our society. I'm just tired of seeing the tyranny and corruption taking over our society and our lives. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, I'll succeed with my mission. If I don't succeed, I know somebody else will succeed for me. Assalamu alaikum.
When close the doors. Close the doors. Please. Shooting.
Adam Sos here for Rebel News with an update on the developments surrounding the story that erupted when on January 23rd, 2024, a lone gunman entered Edmonton City Hall and began firing, throwing allegedly Molotov cocktails, starting off fires. All of that shook Edmonton and, in fact, the country to its very core. Now, fortunately, no one was injured as that incident unfolded, thanks to the sort of courageous action of a brave commissioner who, despite being disarmed, apparently restrained this individual. The individual has now been identified despite some ambiguity, and police originally simply stating all they could release was that the individual acted alone. We now know that the individual who is facing 7 charges, including charges relating to arson and firearms, is 28-year-old Bazani Sarvar. We are led to believe that he'll be facing a bail hearing in the next couple of days here, and we'll be sure to provide you updates of that as it unfolds. Now, prior to this individual being named, when we were just dealing with very cursory reports, Rebel News obtained a video alleging to show this individual, again, this has not been confirmed, but alleging to show this individual on a 4-minute speech, tirade, whatever you want to call it, effectively outlining the parameters, the motivations, and the reasons behind what he calls his mission. Now, the individual in the video is also wearing a security commissioner's jacket, which reports indicate that the attacker was wearing that jacket. And he does very much seem to resemble the individual who is now named as Bazani Sarvar in all of the reports that we've seen. So again, this is not confirmed presently, but it does seem, by all indications that we've been able to discover, that this may very well be the individual who conducted this terror attack. If you have not had the opportunity to watch the full video, we actually want to provide that to you now. It is about 4 minutes. If you already have seen it, feel free to skip right ahead about 4 minutes, but we want to ensure that we're providing you with the sort of full story. So we'll provide this 4-minute clip from the alleged Edmonton City Hall shooter for you to view and assess for yourself.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Before I do my mission, I want you all to know that I am not a psychopath. I do not believe in bloodshed. I am not one of these monsters that hurt children, that hurt innocents, and that promote wars or the civilization of our society. I'm just tired of seeing the tyranny and corruption taking over our society and our lives. Good, honest, and God-fearing men and women must be our doctors, law enforcement, diplomats, politicians, and teachers that rise up against this wokeism disease that's leading our generation into deception. We need good men and women in all workforces to promote a pro-human life. We need to rise up against this inflation, housing crisis, the unrest that's happening between us because of multiculturalism, due to religion, race, and all that stuff. This needs to come to an end with one another. Or anything or anyone that leads us into destruction, we must rise and put a stop into leaders, officials, and anybody that has hands into this corruption, into this genocide that's going on in Gaza and throughout the world. Anybody that is destabilizing other countries, hurting their community, should feel ashamed of themselves. And inshallah, we will rise against you guys and we'll put you on trial. As immigrants, we must understand that we are part of this agenda. We're not here for no reason. This is a man-made war. This is a man-made immigration crisis that we're all here. But instead of hate and anger in our hearts, we must spread love, respect one another, show honesty with one another, and promote pro-life and work with one another to build our economy, our country, and promote strong and pro-human life. We must respect the Canadians' laws, and we must stand with the owners of this land and Canadians shoulders to shoulder to fight racism, to fight this inflation, to fight this rising of costs, to fight our tax money going into this genocide, that's going into all this wars, to weapons that's destroying all these countries. We must all stand united and fight this off and promote a healthy social life, healthy health system, healthy education. We gotta start taking control of our lives and taking control of how we spend our money. I have a good life. I have a beautiful wife. I have beautiful children. I love them dearly. But I cannot sit back and let this happen. I cannot watch our society crumble into darkness. We all need to rise up. We all need to stop being on our phones. We gotta promote a healthy social life where we all communicate with one another, see each other. We gotta stop all this racism at work, outside. We gotta stop bullying. We gotta stop hate. We gotta be in control of our tax, how it's spent, and the tax money has to be spent on us, and it has to be spent on something that is pro-life, pro-human, and something that is beneficial for us and our children. همیشه بولی نکنین نفرا را، همیشه ضررتان نرسین، همیشه خوبی بکنین، مثل حرامی ها واری نشوین، خون نریزانین، جوانا را، اشتکا را، بیچارا را هیچ وقت ضرر نرسانین. همیشه دارای درست جنگ کنین، همیشه سربلند باشین، همیشه کوشش کنین که زندگی خوب داشته باشین. And that goes for all of us. We need to start filtering our water. We need to watch what we're eating. We got to start eating healthy. Our officials need to start promoting healthy choices, healthy diet, exercises. They need to unite us all as one, and we all got to start doing something positive for our society. Look what's happening. We all know what's going on, and we cannot turn a blind eye. I'm not turning a blind eye. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, I'll succeed with my mission.
And shalom alaikum. It's like peace be to you.
If I don't succeed, I know somebody else will succeed for me. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, it seems abundantly clear if the individual in that video is indeed Bazani Sarvar, that this incident was a terror attack. Violence was used to progress a political agenda and to push those perspectives on others. What it is a bit unclear.
So he's calling it a terrorist attack. And he also doesn't seem like anyone that's actually deployed or been of service in any capacity. And so
Clear because so many of those messages in that video.
And nowhere did the Edmonton Police Services guys say that I was a friggin' a terrorist attack. Like, what the hell? Like this.
You are so confused.
So even Rebel News again can be very, very divisive and misleading, and also pushing a very clear agenda.
Founding one moment talking about peace, the next moment talking about carrying out this mission, is what exactly motivated this, and what?
Oh my God! And I don't think his intent, just like he had said, was to hurt anyone, and he wasn't resisting arrest at all. Like I looked at it, like he was literally on the ground. The security guard did not look under duress at all. There didn't look like there was any physical altercations, like no body, like no, no pressure point tactics being employed, no knee to the friggin' to the shoulder blade area. None of that stuff. Didn't need a partner to assist or multiple other people to assist. And again, like I have some that's trained security professionals. I've done it for years, including the ones at the LCBOs, which is the province of Ontario. Like it's the main chain for liquor, and in some areas, like I've even had like security guards where they've even detained people that were wanted for murder and stuff like that. Like and the lack of experience. This is what I mean. Like the independent journalists, they need to take hostile environment awareness training. They need to take standing rapid deployment team courses, especially they're traveling within Canada and they're also traveling outside of Canada, and they don't understand the reality of the friggin' world. And that with zero background or experience in security or in defense or any of that, again, just academia, right? And then reading their own friggin' news from their own friends or mainstream media. And then again, pushing what your sponsors are wanting you to push. So this guy to me is a controlled puppet. Looks like looks like the typical right wing, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but like someone that would vote conservative. Someone that you would think, what I mean, that might be like a provider and protector for the country, but clearly not.
Exactly the intended outcome was one of the themes that comes up.
Maybe he's upset because he was saying that we need to filter our water, but eat healthier and work out. And it doesn't look like he does any of that.
For this individual who clearly seems to have a Muslim faith based on some of the terms and expressions he uses, is the repeated mention of accountability for what he calls a Gazan genocide for individuals and politicians
a war on a
who are
child is a war on a
involved
child.
in
What is
that.
wrong with
That
that?
comes up a few times in that video, as you saw. There are more questions than answers presently. That much is clear. Not only.
Okay, so he's just going to keep pushing his own narrative. And so I'm over that. Rebel News, I'm going to give that a thumbs down. Won't even let me do it. Wait, I'm going to actually go back and make sure I give okay, the thumbs down is there. Thumbs down, Rebel News, yet again. Okay, so now I'm going to go again, and you're going to hear him talk again, but I missed a little bit of it because I was getting a coffee. It's mushroom coffee for those who are interested. Press for Truth. This guy usually is really, really good with his non-biased reporting and his assessments. And so let's see what he has to say. Okay, so he puts the gun down. He was only doing it, looked like he was doing it at cameras, specifically at surveillance cameras, not aiming the gun at anyone, making sure there was no one in the area. Again, I'm just making observations. I'm not like, this guy obviously did something that's a crime and he obviously should be held accountable for it. So let's get that out of the way. So he's waiting bail. Like maybe he's already out on bail. I have no idea. I still have to look at that. But anyway, it doesn't look like it doesn't look to be that he was looking to harm anyone just based off of this. And he already put the gun down. And let's see what else happens. Takes his jacket off. Okay, no. So now again, like he's showing like the best thing, like the fake, whatever you want to call it. And then you saw that like the rest of it during the other video. Nope, sorry. So I'm going to back it up because maybe he was speaking the whole time.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.
Okay, and I will reiterate, Shalom Alaikum is a greeting in the Hebrew language. That's Hebrew as well. So anyone that, so even though with the misinformation with that as well, because Ezra Levant, like he's of a certain religious affiliation, and again, I don't judge anyone based on any of the religious affiliations, but there's Christians. I'm more of a Christian, but again, my religious interpretation transcends them because I believe they're great allegorical stories based on truth, but not facts. But even with Shalom Alaikum, like that's not just like Arabic language or greetings. This is also Hebrew. Like there's anyway Hebrew, and then you've also got like the connection between Hebrew, obviously, and Zionists and Jesuits and Jews specifically, and other people that use that as a greeting. It's a greeting. That specifically is a greeting. So just so everyone knows.
Sirs, before I do my mission, I want you all to know that I am not a.
And what I noticed right away as well is it says like security commissioner, sécurité en français. And so
psychopath. I do not believe in bloodshed. I am not one of these monsters that hurt children, that hurt innocents, and that promote wars.
So he's saying in this video before he did that thing that he's against bloodshed. He's against all this stuff.
And the civilization of our society. I'm just tired of seeing the tyranny and corruption taking over our society and our lives. Good, honest, and God-fearing men and women must be our doctors, law enforcement, diplomats, politicians, and teachers that rise up against this wokeism disease.
So he's saying wokeism. So that's a term that people use to discuss or classify people that are fully on board with like hating specific groups based on their skin color. Like even now, especially like even like people, like there's a huge hate on for white people specifically as well. Part of this wokeism narrative, critical race theory, misinformation about the history of the world, which are making people feel even more stuck and trapped in their own victimhood mentality based on like again like the narrative that's being pushed by these people that promote narratives that harm children immensely. Right, that's what he's talking about when he means woke. He means like like extremists on any side, and I've called out extremists on either side as well. Right, Ezra Levant is considered to be right-wing media, and right-wing it should not be considered to be a negative term. Neither should left-wing, but the extremists on either side should be like
leading our generation into deception.
Prosecuted.
We need to rise up against this inflation, housing crisis.
So now he's talking about inflation, housing crisis. This is all facts. Okay, my mortgage also personally doubled within the last year. I went from a 2% interest on a closed fixed, and the max I could do that under the contract was 5 years for a fixed term. So like this pandemic has been since 2024, right? Like so like things have been unstable, but especially within the last year or two. For anyone that's re-signing mortgages, by the way, in this year there's going to be more people impacted than last year even. And so people that are going to be even more homeless, like even people that serve our Canadian forces that are homeless, people that work 80 hours and more that can barely afford rent and need to like live with other people in order to survive. So carbon tax theft. So right now he's bringing up points that are true, right? That there's people like Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau specifically that are destroying our lives, targeting us, making law enforcement, Gestapo types like target people, harass them, vilify them, charge them. And Chris Sky, actually, I should bring that up as well. And what happened to him that I actually didn't even know is that he's been in the courts for over 4 years, almost $1 million worth of court fees. Apparently, again, I don't know, but like $750K. He's saying that they were trying to charge him or a year jail because under the Quarantine Act, even when he wasn't sick, because of going to like a protest. And protests, ladies and gentlemen, are not illegal. And we've had countless protests within Canada, various different groups, organizations all over the country, just like the U.S.
The unrest that's happening between us because of multiculturalism, due to religion, race, and all that stuff, just needs to come to an end with one another. Anybody that has hands into this corruption, into this genocide that's going on in Gaza and throughout the world, anybody that...
So he says including genocide in Gaza and throughout the world.
That is destabilizing other countries, hurting their community.
And I've been talking about that as well. Like there are people within Gaza that are getting genocided.
Should feel ashamed of themselves, and inshallah
and it's being lied about. Even Jewish hostages, by the way, Jewish people are speaking out on this as well internationally, and they're getting censored by ignorant first world country Karens, male and female, that have no idea what they're talking about. They believe in like all this cultural appropriation is offensive to people, and they're like, no, it's not. Like relax, like, oh my goodness. And innocent. So Jewish people are saying that the IDF and Israeli government are the ones that were shooting on them and actually killed people as well. And all the allegations were walked back yet again, just like with Russia and Ukraine. Okay, about like a possible beheadings and rapes and stuff like that of women. This is what people do and say always at the beginning of these friggin' wars to bait us into getting in them, just like the Gulf War, okay, just like Afghanistan, just like I said with Russia and Ukraine. And it's easy. And for some reason, this stuff still, till this day, people bite. Even Ben Shapiro, but again, he's going off of emotional bias, right? Because like he has skin in the game. His sponsors are part of the lobbyist group that just happens to have a control of Israel right now, right? So innocent Israelis are getting targeted and impacted profoundly because of this as well, right? So like there's also people there that would also like to say that try to conduct protests to speak out against Netanyahu being the leader again, because he was put back in place intentionally, like in 2020, the end of 2022, so December 29th on my birthday, so like a little over a year ago, essentially, even though we're in 2024 now, so I hope that makes sense. And then this happens on that stuff happens on October 7th, and then again with certain embedded media also being involved in like somehow being able to film this, and I also showed crisis actors that were involved. Which was disgusting, and then even faking and pretending that like they had these like war plans and stuff like that, and it was a calendar, and literally nothing in it that had anything to do with terrorist activity at all, and using old tunneling systems to pretend that there were people hiding out there. And again, I'll say there were hostages that were released, the ones that didn't get murdered by Israeli forces. Okay, so you should be tracking that as well. It was, we just didn't know if they were, if they were actually real hostages or not. First of all, you should have a picture of every single hostage, okay, and have like identifiers and have like information on each of them and know that, okay, and so that you can recognize and acknowledge people during the handovers and stuff like that. So I don't even know how that freaking happened. When I do courses, like you take a headshot of every single candidate and the role players as well, but the candidate, and then with a bit of contact information on them, details, so that you know who you're friggin' talking to and stuff like that as well. And anyway, I'm rambling on, but so I'm going to keep on running this because again, I did miss a big portion of his speech when I went and got coffee.
We'll rise against you guys and we'll put you on trial. I cannot sit back and let this happen.
So he's saying put you on trial. So he didn't say anything regarding injury.
Cannot watch our society crumble into darkness. We all need to rise up. Look what's happening. We all know what's going on, and we cannot turn a blind eye. I'm not turning a blind eye. Salam alaikum, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, we'll all succeed.
Okay. Shalom Alaikum is a greeting in the Hebrew language when someone is greeted with these words. And then Inshallah or Inshallah. Inshallah is what I meant to say. It's if God wills, if Allah wills. So again, like there's no extremism in that as well. That's just a very common term that people use, right? In anyway, in that language.
See with my mission. If I don't succeed, I know somewhere else will succeed for me. Assalamu alaikum.
Shalom alaikum again. So like peace be with you, peace, love. Okay, so like that's, I don't even know why he's holding that.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth with breaking news that the mainstream media is trying to cover up. On the morning of Tuesday, January 23rd, a 28-year-old security guard entered Edmonton City Hall, dropping a Molotov cocktail and shooting randomly into doors, the ceiling, walls, and windows. Global News reports that Edmonton City Hall shooting suspect was a security guard who released manifestos.
I'm just going to repeat
the article goes
because he was shooting, and again, don't fucking I'm saying he should be held accountable. So I will reiterate that. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be, like, obviously that's a crime. But there's things that people need to take into consideration. Also, all the facts. Like I will reiterate, I'm not on the side of this. I don't friggin' recommend this for anyone. I don't fucking do this. Don't do this. But consideration made, because intent and purpose and stuff like that is also things that need to be factored in. And if you're shooting at windows, like you could see outside of a friggin' window, you know that what you're shooting at, right? And so like there doesn't seem to be a clear target in mind. Shooting through friggin'. But again, this guy doesn't look like he's really well informed with or experienced with firearms, nor would he be, just because you're a security guard doesn't even mean that you have like the qualifications or certifications to even use handcuffs or the baton. Because even for me with use of force, I also have a portion in there that I could teach separately or not, but it's on handcuff and baton training as well. And so these are advanced level skill sets and certifications that security guards get. That's above and beyond the basic training. So again, like, does he know that shooting through friggin' walls is also dangerous, because like bullets go through friggin' walls? So like, luckily, also with that though, also something you have to take into consideration. There could have been people on the other side of that wall or that door, right? And so if the walls were unpenetratable, like the kind where like it just ricochets off, that's again another thing you have to factor in. The same thing with the doors. Were they steel doors? Were they wood doors? Probably not wood doors. And so like, did he know that it was not going to penetrate? I don't know. But still, these are things that are why I'm understanding where he's coming from. But again, it's just like, don't do it.
is on here to say.
But
He talked about completing a mission and listed a wide range of concerns, including affordability, the housing crisis, and immigration. Affordability, the housing crisis, and immigration? Seems you left out a few key points there. Oh, you know, like how he started and ended his call to action by saying, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Let's rise up against anyone involved with genocide in Gaza.
I didn't hear him say that. I heard him say, like I said, inshallah, which means if Allah wills. Again, that's very common to say, but he's not defining anything. And when he said mission, he's not identifying a mission, right? So even for me, like with a mission statement in the infantry, first of all, you have to say it twice, but it also has to be very clear and succinct and precise, you know, with grid zones, you know, with grids and with dates and timings, locations and stuff like that involved as well. And so saying if God wills, that all he means is like, you know, if this is successful, whatever it is, like he's saying his mission, but I'm assuming he means like getting attention. Like I'm assuming he wants attention, this to be, you know, to gain attention, because we're getting heavily censored in Canada. Even our news outlets are getting heavily censored in Canada. So like there's a possibility that he went this extreme, because again, this is extreme, in order to, again, get this attention at the media, in order to shed awareness on things like what's going on in Gaza, what's going on with affordability, with the housing crisis and stuff like that. So like, again, like that, there's so many different things he's forgetting to say. And what pisses me off too is, again, like, has this guy deployed? Does he Shalom Aleichem, does he know that it means that's also like a Hebrew greeting meaning peace to you? Peace to you? Because before I deployed to Afghanistan, the Middle East, we had the cultural awareness training, but also with it with knowing common words and phrases and greetings, and those were some of them. And so just because I don't understand where he could get someone calling for peace as calling for war. That's so friggin' ignorant. And I'm literally someone that's deployed in the Middle East, and I also have friends that are Muslim. Shocking. Oh my goodness. And from the Middle East. Oh my goodness. And they say, and that's how we friggin' greet. Peace be to you. It's a traditional, and it's a Jewish greeting. And I just said that with the Hebrew. Peace to you. Peace to you. It's like saying hello, and then someone in France, because it means bonjour, saying that oh my gosh, they said hello in English. That's a terrorist slang term for kill everyone. Are you insane? Assalamu alaikum. Peace to you. So it's not even just a traditional Jewish greeting again, that's what they're showing as well, but it's also Arabic and even in Palestine, because Gaza is in Palestine. But they are also Semites. They're Semitic peoples. And so, oh my God, how many fucking women and children have to be burned alive and fucking murdered before people wake up to the reality of the world? And the fact that Netanyahu also in 2002 lied to Congress on C-SPAN, saying that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and how many friggin' hundreds of thousands, probably over 1 million people likely with the collateral damage and stuff like that, what we call it, which is murder, based on lobbyists. But yeah, he lied about that, got us into a war. Yeah. So I'm a little frustrated already with the way this is going. And this is, again, but not everyone is going to get it right. So even with Press for Truth, he gets a lot of things right, and so do a lot of other people, even Ben Shapiro. But I even called out him lying about burned babies, and it was like an AI altered image, and I showed that right away, and so much backlash, and losing followers again, and it is what it is.
Gee, I wonder why the Israeli bootlicking Canadian mainstream media wanted to omit that. Or what about when he said, if I don't succeed, someone else will succeed for me? You'd think the Canadian people might want to know about that part. You'd also think that the Prime Minister would surely have something to say about a shooting that happened in Edmonton City Hall, right? I mean, what's he up to? What a tool. The article goes on to say, charges have been filed in court against a 28-year-old man named Bahani Savar. Savar is charged with reckless arson in an occupied property, possessing incendiary materials, Molotov cocktail, use of a firearm while committing an offense, careless use of a firearm, assault rifle, throwing an explosive substance, and discharging a firearm into a building. Police said late Wednesday afternoon an initial charge of knowingly possessing an unauthorized firearm was going to be dropped. But wait a minute. Did you notice that? Why was the possessing of an unauthorized firearm charge going to be dropped? Could it be because Bill C-21 and every other gun-grabbing measure obviously failed to prevent this, proving that they don't work? It's amazing how quickly Canadians forgot the last time something like this happened in Edmonton. But I certainly didn't. Remember the man who was charged with 5 counts of attempted murder for Edmonton attacks back in 2017? I reported on it here. Proof. Canada is importing terror. Edmonton attack exposed. Here's a clip from that video. The Edmonton terror attack suspect is a Somalian refugee who came here to Canada because he was not wanted in the United States. They wanted him to be deported back to his home country of Somalia. In 2011, he was taken into custody by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Service, and he was held for 2 months. Following the investigation, a judge decided that it would be in the best interest of the American people that he be ordered to go back to his home country of Somalia. So the American authorities, after a 2-month-long investigation, concluded that he should not be allowed to stay there in America. So what does the Canadian government decide to do? The federal government decided to sponsor him for 1 whole year. Naturally. In 2012, he came here on his own claiming asylum status, and he ended up being granted refugee status later that year. After 3 years of his new life in Canada, Sharif was investigated by the RCMP after someone reported that he was espousing extremist ideologies. But the RCMP never did end up charging him. Files on the subject were kept and shared with other police and intelligence agencies. And he was still allowed to live here and do as he pleases because it's the current year and diversity is our strength. So here's...
Yet Jeremy McKenzie gets the treatment that he got. And if you don't know about that, check him out.
the part that I think
He's a
most people are
raging
missing when it comes to this new attack at Edmonton's City Hall. This isn't terrorism that we're dealing with here. It's war. When you shoot at someone and then they shoot back at you, that's not terrorism. It's war. Let's not forget that it's the West.
I don't know if he's been to war or not to be able to, like, I don't know if he knows what he's...
West who bombs their countries first and creates refugees. It's the West who arms and funds and trains these extremists who were created out of their chaos. And it's the West who have allowed this engineered crisis to make its way to Canadian soil. So it's time we call this for what it is. I've been warning for well over a decade now that Canadians are being conditioned for the war on terror. And until we learn who the real enemy is, the attacks are only going to continue. And more of our fundamental rights and freedoms are going to be stripped away from us right here at home every single time. So allow me to present a scenario to you here, and perhaps we can give this a try. How about instead of regarding each other as a refugee or an immigrant or a citizen, we respect private property rights? How about as a free society, we do away with the need for an immigration policy, and instead of seeing borders, we see property lines? How about instead of seeing people as illegal immigrants or refugees, we see them as invitees or trespassers? And maybe it's time we try a policy of non-intervention. How about we stop funding these wars in the Middle East and giving these guys an excuse to put us on their hit list in the first place? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who are you more concerned about? Jihadists in Canada or the Canadian government itself? Thanks so much for watching.
I'm going to go with the Canadian government. Well, not the Canadian government, because again, I've worked with and around the Canadian friggin' government for like my entire life, and I know solid, checked out people within, but they are getting either kicked out, not hired anymore, vilified, character assassinated, all that stuff, getting all of that, and these the wokeists are the ones that are continuing to run the show, and there's zero accountability, so it has to be peaceful, like I've reiterated, but. Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau and their weird friends like Tucker Carlson, who said, which is true, are have been like, again, this is a gross negligence, treason, illegal activity, incompetence, going after truckers and stuff like that too. And again, my stepfather over 40 years for sure, like a trucker, long haul and short haul, and I've gone on some like long haul like. Traveling with him in the truck, and he has over 3 million miles logged, 0 accidents, and not even a speeding ticket. And Chrystia Freeland, she was in the news recently in the last few months, wasn't she? Oh yeah, going 150 kilometers an hour. A couple of weeks after she lied and said that she doesn't drive, so there's that. But then we also shared multiple different. Accounts or anyways, like a lot of money being spent on her to drive her around. So she has chauffeurs like with limos and other vehicles. And so this girl isn't taking a bus or going on a bike. These are all photo ops. And it's frustrating that these people are literally ruining the lives of a lot of people that I know personally as well. Like even with like the carbon tax increases. Again, these are all scams. And I've talked about carbon tax and petroleum in previous videos, so take a look at that stuff. And so until these people are fired and jailed, like right now, like as of the 23rd of January, like this is like literally they can appeal whatever they want, not with our taxpayers' money, even though that's what they're going to do. But like I don't understand why it has not happened yet. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. I just definitely wanted to talk about that and show you different perspectives. Actually, no, I'm gonna actually show you the Chris Sky thing because I did mention it. Let's see if I can find it first. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or X, you are very much welcome to. I've had my Twitter account deleted as well. And so I had to like re-go on it on August 2021. And you'll see, I can see myself live talking. It's kind of weird. Yeah. So this is from Chris Sky. I didn't know the extent, so like that's tell the news. But so Lion Advocacy, I've talked about him as well. He's pretty good. He was saying that with everything going on, I had no clue the Crown had been going after Chris Sky for the past 4 years. So like that's a friggin' long time. With $750,000 in fines and 1 year in jail for violating the Quarantine Act. That was on the table. Unless he had tested positive for Ebola or something, the Crown has some serious explaining to do. Okay, so here's
Colombia. And today is a revolutionary day. I want it to go down in damn history, January 25th, 2024. What am I talking about?
Okay, so yesterday he just posted this.
Well, in 2020, September, I flew out to Ireland to do a massive protest there with like 50,000 people. It was crazy. I came back to Canada September 26th. The police knew I was planning on going to the protest September 26th, so they showed up at my house and they threatened me that if I showed up at the protest, they would arrest me under the Quarantine Act. I said, good. I want to be the first person to get charged on this Quarantine Act so I could take your bitch's ass to court and prove to everybody that everything you're doing is not only unconstitutional, but illegal and ultimately will not stand in court. They threatened me that they would arrest me. I said, screw you. Showed up in the protest. They tried to cut me off with 20 cops before I could even get there. But we had our own army of people filming. And I warned them. They said, you're not allowed to be here, Chris. You're on quarantine. I said, excuse me? Quarantine's for sick people. I'm not sick. I'm here to do a protest. So unless you're going to arrest me, get out of my way. They stepped aside. I did the protest. Then the mainstream media showed up. And all of a sudden, the cop tapped me on the shoulder, and I became the first person in Canada to get a quarantine violation fine. I looked at it. They had put my name wrong on the ticket. So I went back on stage, grabbed the mic, and I challenged the police to give me a proper ticket with a proper name. They did not. The very next week, when I was still on day 13 of my quarantine, we went back to the protest. This time, my wife and I got arrested, and we got charged criminally under the Quarantine Act. The first people, you could hear Chief Bill Blair of the police talk about it on CTV and CP24. And for the last 4 years, ladies and gentlemen, they have been trying to give me either a $750K fine or 1 year in jail. They were calling for a 15-day trial. They had 26 witnesses again.
And a 15-day trial, like, that's thousands of dollars a day, thousands and thousands of dollars a day, like court fees, lawyer fees, and like every lawyer's expensive, right? So if you have more than one friggin' lawyer too, that's like a couple $100 an hour, thousands of dollars in like a day for court fees. And because Helen Bruce is going through this again, someone I've known personally. She's Ottawa Police Services over 20 friggin' years. And even her, like her friggin' court fees for being a hero, not crazy. It's already like at $100,000 friggin' dollars. Like we can't afford that, especially since Chrystia Freeland, this dumb bitch that is like responsible for her going through this right now. Okay, and Chris Renwick, again, like he's a bought and paid for bias judge that's overhearing the like hearings, I guess we would call them, the court hearings. And there's been so much tampering with evidence on the prosecution side. It's just so blatantly obvious, right? And even with like the lawyer from like the prosecution team, like, oh my God. And woman to woman, like so infuriating with that as well. supposed to be of service, and it's such an embarrassment. But like with Colonel Williams, like equating Helen Gruce to be similar to a rapist, murderer, weirdo, freak that was like again a colonel in the Air Force, and was like breaking into women's homes that were within his unit or at his wing, again because he was like he was freaking a wing commander. Oh my god. And just garbage people like that. And so much time in courts, legal fees, and these are regular people, right? So again, when you're doubling their mortgages and like the carbon tax and like making the quality of life and all the food increases, oil increase, all that stuff, cost of living already being completely impacted, then court fees on top of that. Like this is all like I like this is why Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau, like I hope that they get court. They absolutely deserve it, first of all, and then it's a taste of their own friggin' medicine and all the money that they've stolen from us. Maybe we can get that back and back to the people, right? Because anything that I would get, like for any court, again, I've never asked for money, but if I did, I would do what I've always done. And I've given hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, I don't make a lot of money. And, but it's to give to charities, like independent ones, not like the Red Cross and stuff like that. I've been duped before to do that, but like Wounded Warriors, like independent groups like that do like wilderness retreats that put together these communities, like for healing retreats, like I've been saying, for like the first responder types or people that are dealing with like mental health issues, and extended periods of time in the cities and stuff like that. And all of that stuff. Just like Chris Guy. I feel really bad. Like that, like again, like over 4 friggin' years of that, just the stress alone, the chronic stress with that over his head, possibility of jail and like almost $1 million of court fees. Like my stomach is getting upset, literally. Like oh my god. Just like Jeremy McKenzie, just like Helen Gruce, like I've talked about freaking like law enforcement trying to scare me, like again from Huntmar, right? And it was Ottawa Police Services. Again, and that's where Helen Gruce worked, and like the other people I'm talking about that are also good people, that work in the same area. Anyway,
against me, and after 4 years, they came to my wife and I and gave us a deal. Said, plead guilty, take a $1,000 fine, and you won't go to jail for a year, and we won't give you the $750K fine.
But he would have a criminal record. And with a criminal record, there's a lot of things that you cannot do. Some people will not even approve you for a mortgage, a loan, insurance, a job. Okay, because like there's background checks and stuff like that. It's like, especially in my work, and non-disclosure sign and stuff like that. And so like it would ruin his life. $1,000 fine would have ruined his fucking life if he would have accepted that, because again, that's very enticing. But unless you know the repercussions of that, which a lot of people don't. Okay, luckily Chris did. Okay, then you get fucked. Okay, so like the people that enforce and enable this, like I hope you cannot sleep at night, and I really hope that you are a part of the justice system on the opposite side of what you've been on. Okay, because we've been on the right side, you have not. You've proven to be a Nazi. If you were in World War II, you would have proven to be one of the ones that would have driven people to the gas chambers or turned on the friggin' hoses or put people in the camps. People already showed their cards. It's you guys that have to walk it back, right? You have to fucking show somehow that we can trust you after everything that you've done to us. To not only ruin our lives now, but for our futures too, right? Like again, $1,000 fine. Think about that. Him trying to like end mandates and forced inoculations, which turned out to be the correct decision, and clearly. But again, it's finally being pushed. Like it's finally on the record officially. Could have ruined his friggin' life. Again, like and without even getting accepted for insurance, whether it be house insurance or vehicle insurance. Even with that, like a lot of banks will not approve you. They will not approve you for a loan in Canada, for a mortgage in Canada, for a car in Canada, for employment in Canada, travel issues. So this is what's also going on with Helen Gruce. Has been of service, law enforcement, and myself.
My wife took the deal. Me? Ask my lawyer.
So his wife, she's there's a lot of things she cannot do now, but luckily she's married to Chris Guy, or she's married, so he can assist her, right? Like, and he should be the one that's providing and protecting, you know what I mean? The wife to begin with, right? And so, yeah.
I told them, suck my fucking cock. I'll see you in court, and I'm going to destroy you like I told you way back in October 2020. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Today, January 25th, the state has decided to drop all charges against me. Why? Because they know if I went to court, it would be even more public and they would get even more embarrassed. The first person to be charged, fined, and charged criminally
And
under the
that's why
Quarantine Act right
hearings
here,
aren't public.
challenged in court, delayed for 4 years, 4 years, finally vindicated, finally proven right, and finally able to say, fuck you, Trudeau, suck my dick, kiss my ass, I beat you all, I proved I was right, and this pandemic bullshit will never happen again because now everybody knows all they have to do is stand up to you and just say no. Chris Sky out.
Yeah, that was actually very entertaining. Yeah, I feel honestly really friggin' terrible for him and his wife and his family. And that must, oh my God. So that's basically it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I hope it doesn't seem too biased. But it is what it is. So I will leave it at that. And I mean, if anything else big comes up, then I will likely cover it because I will be staying put. Like we're having crazy weather here in Ottawa. There's a lot of snow out still. And but now it's raining, and so now it's friggin' slick. Looks super dangerous for driving conditions. And so because like we're still like kind of cold where it can still like freeze a little bit, and there's really slick areas that are still like black ice and stuff like that. So I don't really want to risk going to the gym, you know, when I can work out at home, just be, you know, and friggin' possibly get in a friggin' accident. I assess risk, and that's where I'm at with that, unless things change, but it looks like it's not stopping. So like, I don't really want to risk that, even though I have a advanced driving certifications and I've taught it. And again, I was in a mechanized battalion. I keep on saying again, I don't know why I say that, but anyway, convoy operations overseas. I've traveled all over the world, but like all over Canada. And I've done like a lot of road trips in the US as well. I want to do a road trip to the US because it's been a long friggin' time. And because of my vaccination status, I also wasn't legally allowed to for a few years. And so I would like to go meet up with some people that I haven't seen in many years, and or people that I haven't met in person. And so I would like to see people from like the Naked and Afraid crew. Like I would like to see EJ. I would like, because I haven't seen him in person, but I've talked to him on the phone a few times, and we've talked on Signal and Telegram. Only if he wants to like ask a question about international stuff, he'll usually reach out. Well, he probably has like multiple contacts, just like myself, that he reaches out to, because he's also a veteran in the American Army. He's a badass, friggin' alpha male, super friggin' like, oh my God, check out EJ Snyder on social media, and Gary Grant. Sorry, my God. Gary Goldman. Oh my God, I just did it again. Gary Golding. See, I know him as Tarzan of Los Angeles. And so like his it's Gary Golding. Oh my goodness. And he'd hate me for that if he saw this. And Tarzan of Los Angeles, I highly recommend taking a look at his stuff as well. And I would love to meet up with him and maybe do like a kayaking thing and see some of the friggin' cute friggin' animals that he sees in the water and on land where he is. And I'd like to get on a show with Eddie Bravo or Joe Rogan or Sean Ryan. And so that would be something that I would prefer to do in person or with Redacted, because like I'm getting more traction on my my content. And there's people that are talking with each other like in underground networks. And so again, like there's more to come. I'm even saying like I already, like Mark Sargent, like that was great. That was amazing. And now Dave Weiss, like I'm going to be speaking to him like next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And check out his channel for that and get his app that I've shared on my social media multiple times. And I'm not paid to say that. And so I'll be talking with him. And I have not talked with him in person before. And so that will be interesting. And so we'll see. And if you want me to get on different shows, then write the people a message and say that you'd like to have me on their show, and that probably would gain more traction as well. And so anyway, I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.